All right. Good morning, everyone. Hello. Welcome to the fourth installment of the Icebreaker webinar series. Today, we're talking about the Regional Energy Advisor Training Program and becoming an energy advisor. My name is Kayla Fayant, and I'm the manager of the program here at ICE. I am from and currently located in Fishing Lake Métis Settlement here in Alberta on traditional Treaty 6 territory. Please feel free to use the chat to share where you're joining us from. All right. So a little bit of housekeeping before we get started. This session is being recorded. We'll share the recording to Indigenous Clean Energy's YouTube channel. After, we are asking that you keep your microphones off until the question and answer period at the end, where you'll get an opportunity to ask your questions, but you may also use the chat at any time to add your questions. All right. We have people sharing where they're from in the chat. Great to see we have a range already of people. So today's Icebreaker session is the fourth of 5 live free webinar sessions that provide valuable insights into Indigenous Clean Energy's programs. These sessions delve into critical topics such as capacity building, mentorship, and project support offered through ICE. We've already had 3 sessions for the 2020 Catalyst program, our Charge Up program, and our Project Accelerator program. Our youth program is coming up next on November 13th. You can check out any of the recordings for the past webinars on our YouTube channel. And the Icebreaker series is delivered with support from Alberta Indigenous Clean Energy Initiative, which works with communities to maximize their investment in projects. We have Courtney Hiscock here with us today from AICEI, and I'll let her introduce herself. I just have to let her unmute herself.
Hi, thank you, everybody.
There we go.
Welcome, everyone. My name is Courtney Hiscock, and I'm a business officer with Prairies Economic Development Canada. My role focuses on the Alberta Indigenous Clean Energy Initiative, which helps First Nations and Métis settlements get the most out of their investments in clean energy projects. As part of this role, we work closely with Indigenous Services Canada, Natural Resources Canada, Indigenous Clean Energy, Alberta Indigenous Relations, and Alberta Indigenous Opportunities Corporation. With that said, we're open to discussions at any stage of your project, and we can help you identify your community's priorities, explore potential opportunities and partnerships, develop your capacity to lead these projects, and see your project through completion, as well as identify other sources of funding and other resources as needed. If you're interested in learning more, or would like to start a conversation about what we do, I can send my contact information and our website in the chat box for you. So please feel free to check that out and get in touch. Thank you so much for joining us, and I'll hand it back over.
Thank you, Courtney. So for those of you who may not be familiar with Indigenous Clean Energy, we are a not-for-profit organization that, as it says here, aims to bring clean energy projects and build capacity in Indigenous communities all across Canada. The team is made up of Ian Scolton, our program director, Chad Bonnet Rouge, our energy efficiency coordinator, and myself. We make up the Regional Energy Advisor Training Program team. Our program aims to increase access to energy audits for Indigenous communities by creating new NRCan registered energy advisors, and ensures that those EAs are also aware of the unique needs of Indigenous housing programs. The program differs from many other ICE programs that you might have learned about so far, in that it requires technical knowledge and has an external certification process that includes exams. The first cohort of the program, which is currently in progress, prioritized applicants working on a regional basis or with multiple communities. We took this approach to support as many Indigenous communities as possible, and some of our own project communities looking to build community energy plans and conduct audits. So an NRCan registered energy advisor is licensed to provide an impartial energy efficiency rating to new and existing homes. They can evaluate existing houses for their energy performance and provide recommendations to improve energy efficiency and comfort. They can also model new houses to verify if they qualify for home labeling programs such as net zero. In order to apply for many grants and programs, your home must be evaluated by an energy advisor who is registered with NRCan. Natural Resources Canada is the body that administers the policies and procedures around the EnerGuide rating system and ensures that energy advisors maintain their standards in energy audits right across Canada, are non-biased in their measures and recommendations, and have a deep understanding of energy performance in housing. So an energy advisor conducts home energy evaluations. The evaluation often begins at the exterior of the home and moves on to the interior. An energy advisor will come in and take measurements of the exterior walls, your windows and doors, and your roof. They'll collect data and take photos of those exterior walls, your mechanical systems, and your windows and door types, your insulation levels, and your household operating conditions. They may also collect data about any other elements of your home that will impact its energy performance. That data then gets entered into a software called Hot 2000 that calculates your home's EnerGuide rating. They will produce a renovation upgrade report that has recommendations on changes that you can make to save energy and improve the comfort and health of your home. So we need energy advisors, and that's where this program came from. So there's a general shortage for qualified energy advisors across Canada. However, the inaccessibility to this expertise is even more noticeable in Indigenous and rural communities, especially the lack of Indigenous advisors who understand the unique needs of our communities. By creating this capacity, more Indigenous communities will have access to the energy efficiency expertise that is needed to make decisions around housing that will lead to better, healthier housing conditions with reduced utility bills through energy efficiency actions. We also need energy auditors to help give guidance on how to make our homes more efficient and implement best energy efficiency practices. And finally, we need to meet the increased demand for energy audits. One of the reasons for the increase is because of national and provincial funding programs that provides grants and loans to homeowners for energy efficient upgrades. And those programs require an audit be completed by a registered energy advisor first before qualifying for the programs. So the process to becoming an energy advisor is the same for everyone across Canada. To become an EA, NRCan requires that energy advisors pass 2 exams, first the foundation level exam, and second the energy advisor house level exam. And they become affiliated with a service organization where they will have you complete probationary files at the start of your registration with them. There's no designated training programs or one prescribed way of preparing for these exams. There's lots of different programs out there, but there's no one way of doing it. So they provide a list of over 200 competencies for each exam, but there's only 150 questions on the test. So you could get tested on any one of those 200 competencies. And yeah, it's 150 questions broken into 3 sections with 60 minutes for each section. So you'll be studying a wide range of material and only tested on a portion of it. So it's really, especially the foundation level, requires a very deep understanding of building science and the house as a system. So then, as I mentioned, with the service organization, NRCan recommends that you complete probationary files under their supervision before they recommend you complete your registration. So you must maintain your affiliation with a service organization to stay registered with Natural Resources Canada. A service organization completes registration, provides practical training, provides supervision, hands-on training, a floor door and audit kit, and will often provide a data collection template. So the probationary files includes about 7 probationary files. They'll observe 2, perform 2 under the supervision of a already registered energy advisor, and then we'll have 3 solo files, which will get reviewed by a quality assurance specialist. They may ask for more if those 7 aren't enough to demonstrate your ability to perform solo audits as an EA. So once all those requirements are completed, the exams and those files, you can then complete your registration with Natural Resources Canada. So Indigenous Clean Energy's approach to training our energy advisors have been weekly virtual workshops, on-site sessions, supports such as resource sharing, peer-to-peer study sessions, and wraparound supports, and then connecting them to existing industry professionals who are already working or have worked as energy auditors. So we prepare our participants for their exams through workshops that teach the competencies that are required to pass the exams. We've started with building science and learned about topics such as house as a system, energy efficient construction, building envelopes, and HVAC systems. The foundation level exam prep and energy advisor exam prep teaches about exam writing strategies, reviewing, and practicing applying the learnings. We also cover HOT 2000 modeling, which introduces the energy advisors to the software that they will be using to create energy evaluation files. Our training is also supplemented by our Indigenous Enhanced Workshop series, regionally specific circles, study groups, and mentorship. The process focuses, the standard process focuses on a house-by-house basis. We know Indigenous communities don't always fit that mold. So we designed this part of a program to teach our energy advisors how to have more of an impact on the communities that they're working with or in. While the fundamental training teaches about the technical side of delivering an audit and equips an energy advisor with the knowledge to complete one, it doesn't equip them with the knowledge and skills that are required to work with Indigenous communities. So we created an Indigenous Enhanced Workshop series that provides participants with an understanding of how to apply the energy auditing process effectively in Indigenous communities. Through the workshop series, participants have been learning things such as how to shift the focus from energy efficiency to healthy homes, how to best support communities, best practices for communication with community members, with chief and council, and with housing professionals, and then data collection strategies for communities and how that looks different versus single homes. Participants are also have been broken out into circles based on their location to learn from professionals about best energy efficiency practices in their region. We've also given them the opportunity to connect and learn from each other through scheduled drop-in study groups, and as I mentioned, connecting them with a service organization and connecting them with other professionals who have already worked in the industry. So after you pass your exams, you do your files, you've become registered. That's not it. You're not done. It's not the end of the training and development. Energy advisors must take recertification exams every 3 years, and they should stay current with developments in building science. Energy auditors can also upgrade their license to add on multi-unit residential buildings or MURBs. Energy Star for new houses, they can add that to their belt. They can become a quality assurance specialist, which, as I've mentioned briefly, reviews files that are submitted, or they could become a service organization manager. So as I mentioned, this course is pretty technical, and those who don't have a building science background those who do have a building science background tend to do better on the exams. This doesn't mean that they're the only ones who could pass or who should try. Computer skills and math skills and the ability to learn are the most important to being able to successfully pass these exams. The rest can be learned. It just might take extra time and effort to really learn that building science content. The foundation level exam, as I mentioned, is particularly difficult and challenging because you're learning everything about a house, you're learning, or you're maybe refreshing math and building science. So there is a lot to learn within that. Other things that might be, or that are key, is reliable transportation. You know, you're going to be moving a sizable energy advisor kit from home to home. You'll be going, our energy advisors, because they're working on a regional basis, will be going to different communities, and not everything will be close to each other. Being an EA also takes you up and down ladders, into crawl spaces, and outdoors in all climate conditions. So it's definitely could be a physical job. If your community is interested in pursuing high efficiency, having access to an energy advisor is an asset, but there are other trainings designed for builders and trades focused courses that may be applicable. Some of those courses include British Columbia's Institute of Technology Sustainable Energy Management Advanced Certificate. It's a part-time online program that teaches sustainable energy management principles, approaches, techniques, and tools. Passive House Canada offers different level of courses on building to a passive house standard, including a free course. And Canadian Home Builders Association has net zero builders and renovators programs in addition to the net zero energy advisor program. Our ICE, we also offer different programs that may be more suited if an energy advisor, if going down the energy advisor road is not for you, but you want to still build expertise in energy efficiency. Our ICE network has so many resources, so join that and take a look at our different communities. We have the Project Accelerator, which is a great capacity building program, and as well as our 2020 Catalyst, which I said you can find more information about through the last 2 webinars. And then to become an energy advisor, you know, like I said, there's no one prescribed way, there's different ways. So organizations like Blue House and CIET and your local colleges may offer training. So our current cohort has participants in locations across Canada, from coast to coast, north to south, and we're currently planning for our next cohort, having learned a lot from our first. It's still in progress. We do not yet have a date set for the next round of intake, but if you would like to be notified for the next intake, please send me your an email so I can let you know. I'll put my email in the chat. And oh, sorry. Yeah, that takes us to our question and answer period. I think the best method will be to use the hand raising function or use the chat. Okay, participants can now unmute themselves. Do we have any questions? Regionally specific circles, is there a map of these? So Each cohort will look different. This cohort, we did just based on who we had. I will go back. So we did based on where our groups were. So we did a BC group, a central group, a northern group, and an Atlantic group. A question about how many participants does each cohort accept? Our first cohort accepted 15 participants. We're still working out the details for the next one. So there are some flexibility on how many we are able to accept. How long is the whole training from start to finish? And they're out doing work. So our program was planned from April 1st to December. So that's about 9 months. If you have a strong building science background, it may not take you 9 months. We're working with a variety of backgrounds from energy champions to building inspectors. So everyone has a different level of understanding of building science right from the start, but we wanted to really build up that building science background before we got into any exam prep. So ours is taking, like, it does take a little bit more time. Also, our participants all have full-time work with their communities or regional organizations. So we kept that in mind with our pacing and our timing. So 9 months for this, but some exam prep courses are, 24 hours broken out over a weekend. So it really, if you go a different route, there's different ways. Can it be done after a 9-to-5 job? You can self-study after a 9-to-5 job. Our program went during work hours. So we did 1 to 4 p.m. Eastern time. So that looks different. Like I said, we have people from BC all the way to Newfoundland. So all in different time zones. So it looks different for that. So what does a cohort program look like? So everyone in our, as I said, we call it a cohort. It's our current group, our current intake, goes through it together. So we're working on it concurrently. Our sessions are live. They're delivered live, sometimes on a weekly, or there's two a week sometimes. So although they work together, they have all access to our ICE network so they can interact and really try to make it a more collaborative peer-to-peer experience. There's no one currently in the program from Manitoba. We are hoping to get more, like really fill out this map. We don't have an application intake for the next cohort yet. We're working on that. I've said, I think we've learned a lot from this first group on how to successfully deliver this program. So we are reconfiguring what that looks like for the next one, and we'll put out a call for more applications for the next one. Does anyone ever challenge these exams? So you are able to challenge them. They're like, you don't have to take, there's no prescribed training, as I said. So you can go directly to the exams, but they're tricky. You probably want the help and advice of somebody who's been through the exams, been through the energy advisor registration process. Any more questions? Do you have mentors? Okay, so our trainer, we use Canadian Home Builders Association New Brunswick for the first round of training. Our trainer is an energy advisor who has a huge amount of knowledge of the industry to share, and he does. Through our regional circles and our Indigenous Enhance, we've also had mentors there. We've worked with Clean Foundation, we've worked with Home Soul and a few other service organizations. And our energy advisors will all be paired with service organizations, and they'll get additional mentorship through their probationary files. So what is a typical service organization? Okay, so Natural Resources Canada has a list of all their licensed service organizations. So the requirement to become a service organization, I believe, is to have at least 2 energy advisors on staff, have a quality assurance specialist on staff, and have a service organization manager. So each of those roles has its own exam and qualification process. So after completing your energy advisor, becoming registered as an energy advisor, you can then study for and take the quality assurance specialist exam and become one of those, and they review files. If you'd like a list of who service organizations are in your area, they are available on Natural Resources Canada website. I can send it in the chat shortly. And then, is there a fee for support? So for the first cohort, there was no fee. We provided everything. What ages do you consider youth? I believe for our programs right now, we consider youth up to 30. And then have you managed doing home energy studies on reserves as a recommendations and funding provided for renovations? Yeah, so good question. Like I said, there's so many programs out there for the renovations, such as Natural Resources Canada's Greener Homes Initiative. And there's provincial programs depending on what province that you're in. So a home energy audit can cost anywhere from, I've heard, $200 to $1,200. So it's such a range, and there's so many factors that go in that I think on average it's about $500. How to fund it is always an interesting struggle. It looks different from place to place and depending on what programs you have available. So there's a question here on providing participants with advice and guidance on how to choose a good service organization, looking for red flags, guidance on the business of being in Canada. So like I said, they have access to many professionals, so we've gotten to pick their brain on that. We also, for anyone coming in to work with us, we do usually do like an equity training, so they're familiar with, and we're always trying to work with people who are familiar with working with Indigenous communities. We use our network to get the advice and perspective of those working in the industry, also to kind of feel out a service organization. More questions? Yeah, it would be helpful to supply funding opportunities for home energy audits. I will share what I'm aware of. Any Indigenous-led service organizations? So I know of one out east who are working to become a fully Indigenous service organization. I don't know where they're at in that process, but there are those. Um, there's also other service organizations who work with a lot of Indigenous communities. They're not fully Indigenous that I know of. So I would be happy to find out if I could share where they're at in their process and tell you more about the organization that's working on becoming a fully Indigenous-led service organization. Okay. Yeah, so if you'd like to be notified, please send me an email to get on the list or watch for our ICE network. We'll always, our newsletters will have our intake dates. Our ICE network will have our intake dates and more when applications next open. I don't have the details yet on how many. Okay. Is the first program almost over? So our first program, they are currently preparing for their second exam. So we're a little over halfway. We actually just got back from our on-site in Ottawa. So we came together for a week, which was really great for everyone to connect in person. It creates more of that peer-to-peer learning and support. And they actually got to view and oh, Trisha must be with Meadow Lake Tribal Council. Yeah. Yeah, they actually got to view energy audits and go to the CanMet Energy facility and see some of the new technology that's being developed, and yeah, meet different professionals and do lots of great things for being in person. Hey, thank you. Well, if there's no more questions, then our next icebreaker is November 13th. Join us to hear about our youth programs, imagination, and generation power. And I will put my email in the chat now. Thank you, everyone.